Have you ever noticed how some people look fine on the outside, but inside they feel like a phone stuck at 1% all day, every day? They wake up tired. They get through work tired. They even rest tired. And the scary part is they start to believe this is just who they are. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because mental exhaustion is not laziness. It is not a weak mindset. It is often a psychological pattern, a quiet system running in the background, draining you little by little. Today we are decoding the psychology of people who feel mentally exhausted all the time and why it happens even when their life looks normal. Before we start, notice this. When your body is physically tired, sleep helps. But when your mind is tired, sleep can feel like you just pressed pause, not reset. That is because the problem is not only fatigue. It is the way your brain has learned to operate. Point 1. Your brain is never truly off. Mentally exhausted people usually have one invisible habit: constant background thinking. Not deep, productive thinking, more like 100 tiny tabs open at once. What did I say in that chat? Did I reply too late? What if I mess up tomorrow? Should I be doing more? Why am I like this? This is called cognitive load. Your working memory has limits. When it is filled with worry loops, planning loops, and replay loops, your mind does not have space left for calm. Psychologists link this to rumination, which is basically the brain trying to solve emotional problems with logic. But emotions are not math, so the brain keeps trying, and trying, and trying. Here is the twist. A lot of mentally exhausted people are actually high in conscientiousness. They care, they notice details, they anticipate consequences. So their brain becomes a safety scanner. If you grew up in a home where mistakes were punished, or moods changed fast, you learned one powerful survival skill: hypervigilance, always being ready. And hypervigilance is exhausting because it treats normal life like a threat, a simple sign. You feel tired after social situations, even easy ones, because your brain was monitoring everything: tone, facial expressions, timing. You were not just talking, you were performing safety. And when you finally get home, your mind does not celebrate. It interrogates. Did I talk too much? Did I look weird? Did I miss something? That post-event replay is your brain searching for proof that you are safe. It is well-intentioned, but it steals your recovery. Point 2. You are carrying emotions that are not being processed. Mental exhaustion is often emotional exhaustion wearing a different mask. Some people never learned emotional labeling. They just learned to push through. So feelings do not get resolved. They get stored. Think of it like holding a heavy bag with your arm straight. At first, it is fine. Then your muscles burn. But you keep holding it because you do not want to drop it. Unprocessed emotions create tension, and tension takes mental energy. That is why you can be exhausted without doing much. There is a concept in emotional intelligence called alexithymia. It means struggling to identify and describe feelings. When you cannot name what you feel, your body keeps the signal on. The stress response stays active. Cortisol stays higher. Sleep becomes lighter. And the next day, your brain starts already behind. Many mentally exhausted people also have a caretaker pattern. They read the room. They fix the vibe. They carry other people's discomfort. This is empathy, but without boundaries. And psychology calls that emotional labor. Smiling when you are not okay. Explaining yourself gently when you want to scream. Keeping the peace so no one leaves. You pay for that with your nervous system. Notice how it shows up. You say yes, then you feel heavy. You help, then you feel resentful. You listen, then you feel empty. That is not you being selfish. That is your system telling you it needs space to feel. Point 3. Your reward system is confused. If you feel tired all the time, you might think you lack motivation, but often your dopamine system has been trained to chase, not to feel. Some people grew up earning love. Praise came when you achieved. Attention came when you were useful. So your brain learned effort equals worth. That creates a perfectionism loop. You work hard, you finally stop, and then guilt hits. Because rest feels like danger. Thinking about relaxing triggers a silent thought. I should be doing something. This is where cognitive bias shows up. All or nothing thinking. If I cannot do it perfectly, I should not start. If I rest, I will fall behind. If I slow down, I will disappoint people. So you stay in high gear even when you are exhausted. And when you crash, you call yourself lazy, which adds shame, which drains you more. Also, modern life trains your reward system to want fast stimulation, short videos, notifications, endless scrolling. Your brain is fed tiny rewards, then it crashes into boredom, and boredom feels painful when your nervous system is already stressed. So mentally exhausted people often say, I cannot focus. But the deeper story is, their attention has been sliced into pieces. And when attention is scattered, everything takes more effort. A simple task feels like a mountain, not because you are weak, because your mental fuel is leaking. A quick check. Do you feel relief when you cancel plans, but panic 5 minutes later? That is your reward system craving rest and fearing stillness at the same time. Your brain learned to equate quiet with being behind. Point 4. Your boundaries are too soft or too late. People who are mentally exhausted often have a hard time saying no. Not because they want to please everyone, but because they learn that conflict equals rejection. So they agree. They delay their own needs. They answer messages they do not want to answer. They show up when they need rest. They keep explaining themselves so people will not misunderstand. This connects to attachment styles. If you have an anxious attachment pattern, your brain treats distance like danger, so you overperform closeness. You double text. You overthink. You fix. You apologize. You try to control outcomes with effort, and effort becomes your coping mechanism. Here is the brutal part. Every time you ignore a boundary, your brain learns that your feelings are not important. That creates internal resentment. And resentment is heavy, so you might feel exhausted after being with someone you love. Not because they are bad, because you were not real, you were managing. Healthy boundaries are not walls. They are clarity. They reduce decision fatigue. They protect your limited attention. They tell your nervous system, I am safe enough to choose myself. Try this sentence. I cannot today, but I can another time. No long explanation. No apology tour. Just calm clarity. Your brain needs proof that saying no does not end relationships. Point 5. Your body clock is out of sync with your mind. Yes, psychology is not just thoughts. It is biology too. Many mentally exhausted people have a mismatched rhythm. They wake up and immediately flood their brain with light, noise, and information. They go to bed with stimulation still running. Their sleep is technically 8 hours, but it is not deep. Circadian rhythm matters. If your schedule fights, your natural energy peaks, your brain burns more glucose to stay alert. Add stress, and the brain chooses survival over restoration. That is why you can sleep and still wake up tired. Also, chronic mental exhaustion often happens when recovery time has no meaning. If your rest is filled with guilt, scrolling, or mental planning, it is not rest. It is a different kind of work. Real recovery is when your brain gets signals of safety, slow breathing, predictable routines, sunlight, movement, connection that feels easy, time without performance. And if you rarely feel safe, your mind never fully powers down. Here is a small psychological trick. Create a shutdown ritual. Same song, same tea, same light. Your brain loves patterns. Patterns lower uncertainty. Lower uncertainty tells your system, the day is done, you can stop scanning. One more pattern shows up. Mentally exhausted people are hard on themselves in private. They use self-talk as motivation, but the brain hears it as threat. Threat activates stress. Stress steals clarity. So kindness is not soft. It is fuel. So here is what we have learned. Mentally exhausted people are not broken. They are overloaded. Their brain is running too many tabs. Their emotions are stored, not processed. Their reward system is chasing, not receiving. Their boundaries are delayed, not clear. Their body clock is fighting their lifestyle. If you saw yourself in this, take a breath. You do not need a new personality. You need a new relationship with your energy. Start small. Name what you feel. Close one mental tab at a time. Say no once, without a speech. Replace 1 hour of stimulation with 1 hour of genuine recovery. And remember this: you can be strong and still be tired, but you do not have to stay tired forever. If this video understood you, type reset in the comments. And if you want more psychology that feels like someone finally gets what is happening inside your head, subscribe and stay close. I will see you in the next one.